was very inspiring walk-on music. we need to work with this group. We'll start singing. So, hi, how is everybody? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. It's always fun. These are like vacations. These are like celebrations. These are recognitions. These are times when we just get to sit and stop for a minute and get to know you a little bit better and celebrate your success. So I know it's a vacation. I know it's something that you worked really hard for. I'm going to be talking a little bit of business today. Is that okay with you? We need to talk a little business. I figure everybody in this room, you know, as much as we would like to just put everything down and have fun and just celebrate, is that we're all thinking about business all the times in our heads, right? And so although you're here on this amazing event, I'm going to bring something to you that I hope you will take away that builds your belief that this is the right time and the right place in history for you. That you will go back from this trip so inspired, so ready, so motivated, so on fire to just hit the ground running when you get back and get your teams motivated so that on the next incentive, you're bringing even larger and larger groups with you. Are you all right with that? Is that okay if that's what we do? Okay, because I love what Ryan does. He gets to talk about the recognition, and it's so fun, and it's so great, and I love that part too. But we know that behind every moment, every hug, every flower, every award are hours and hours of countless and tireless dedication, disappointments, successes, triumphs, all of the things that make up for that one glorious moment when your feet hit the stage. That there are months and years of hard work that got you to that place. So what I want to talk about today is the opportunity of direct selling. Most of you know I have spent my whole career in direct selling. I am as passionate as a person can be about ordinary people living an extraordinary life. The lives that we change, the lives that are transformed because of the work of your hands and the love in your heart is unsurpassed. There is nothing, there is no gig, there is no side hustle, there is nothing like it in the universe than the power of direct selling and what we do at Lifewave. There is nothing more powerful. And I am committed to it. You know I am committed to it. I consider myself a champion like you of our profession. We need to protect it. We need to hold it close. We need to hold it dear. We need to never stop caring and sharing. And so when we look at this time in history, though, this is a crazy time in direct selling. We are seeing the most tragic things happening. Companies being acquired by venture capitalists, by investment firms that are decimating companies with good people and good products, lovely people, like never before. We talk about it all the time. In over 100 years in direct selling, this is an unprecedented time in history to defend what we do. And we have people out there that would love to tear us down. Why? Because they want you to be ordinary. Rank and file, go to work, get a job, blah, 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 blah. They want you to. Because you know what it's like? It's like, how many of you have ever actually witnessed a crab pot in real life? A crab pot. Some of you? Okay, so I'm from the Pacific Northwest. So what we do is we go down on the beach and we throw some Spam in a cage at the end of the pier. We build a big fire and we get the pot and the water comes to a big boil. And then after a little while, we pull the pot out of the water and there's Dungeness crab in there. And if you've never had a fresh Dungeness crab, you should try it out of the water. But what's really horrible is that you take these little creatures and you go over to your big bonfire and you have your big pot and you drop them in there into the boiling water, okay? Because that's how you have to make sure that their meat is preserved, right? What happens at that moment if you're kind of a person that wants to stand there and sort of watch this happen? It is kind of interesting when you're a kid in a creepy way. But you have these crabs in the bottom and they're kind of freaking out because obviously the water's hot and it takes a minute. But you'll always have a couple of them that try to climb out the side. You'll always have and they're trying, and you can watch it happening when one of those little crabs is trying to get out of that hot water, and one of his buddies reaches over with his claw and just pulls him back down. And you're, like I say, it's a morbid curiosity, I'm sure. But as he pulls him back down to his death, that can be life. That can be life. In the hot water and the sheer destruction of what's happening of their life, of their freedom. The people around us, those closest to them, reaching up with their little claws and trying to pull you back down into that death and destruction. And that's life. And that's what happens all around us, because the world wants to be embodied and enslaved to their way of doing business. They don't like what entrepreneurialism represents in direct selling. They don't like it. And so they will attack us. And so we have something here that is so special. It is an entrepreneurial explosion right now. An entrepreneur, I have never seen, in all of my years, and 30 years of doing this, I have never seen, I'm going to drench myself, I have never seen more entrepreneurs looking for an opportunity than right now. Not even joking. Never have I seen more entrepreneurs looking, calling me, texting me, and I know you're doing the same because some of you are reaching out to me as well. Are you seeing that too? Very good. Now that David Jumper's made it okay to drink water on stage, I'm going to follow suit. I have no salmon. I know it's so dehydrating. All right. So, what they're looking for, I've been around some of the best direct selling entrepreneurs in the world. All going to Eric Worre conferences. I have been around the best of the best leaders. And I know that when they're looking for an opportunity, there are really 5 things that they want to know if you're going to be talking to them about your opportunity. And here's what they are looking for. They're looking for David Schmidt. Quite frankly, they're looking for David Schmidt. They are. Because they need a long-term vision. People who know what they're doing, who have devoted their life to this industry, to our sector, they need to know that the person who is steering the ship, the person who is inspiring people like myself, people like Ryan Barson and others, all of us, who are inspiring us to devote our highest and best, they need to know that he is all in. He or she, that they are all in. That's why they oftentimes want to meet them. Don't they? They always say, oh, how can I talk to you about? That's why. Because they are thinking, they have everything that they've worked for their whole life. Building their credibility, putting their time, putting their talent, and putting that treasure of their influence into a business, and they want to know that the horse that they're going to hitch their wagon to is all in, moving forward with a long-term vision. Why? Because they don't want to go to another direct selling company. How many of you in this room want this to be the last direct selling company that you're ever at? Let me hear you. Loudly, let me hear you. Of course, we feel the same way. So they're looking for that long-term vision, and they're looking for a person who is committed to the sector, that loves direct selling. And if you've read David's work, if you've listened to his interviews, and he talked about that moment when he had that change, that epiphany, that direct selling was what he wanted to use as a vehicle, because it was the closest way he could get to take his passion, his hard work, his life-changing technology to the masses through individual people with relationships, one by one by one. And he knew, and he is committed. It was the most important thing in my initial conversation with him, because a lot like all of you, I'm looking for that as well. We need to make sure that commitment is there. I'm going to say a sad story. And usually I don't like throw into companies under the bus or say their names out loud, but this one is just such an offensive thing, right? I can't resist. So Rodan & Fields, okay, who has recently made that terrible press release announcement that they have left the channel, that they're leaving the channel and now have left. Rodan & Fields, I sat there in CEO and president kind of environments when they were talking off camera, off stage, and you could tell they didn't like our sector. Those two ladies, you could tell they didn't, no matter what they said on stage. And if you come from Rodan, I'm sorry, but I listened to them, and it's like they were not all in. They wanted to be Estee Lauder, they wanted to be Clinique, they wanted to be big box retail cosmetics in the beautiful Merlin, Norman, all the big companies. They wanted to be there. They didn't want to be with us. They always had that vibe. And for me, who's been in the field for 10 years, like you building, the one thing that we know about us, what do we know? We are heat-seeking missiles for insincerity. We are heat-seeking missiles for insincerity. And when somebody is not committed to what we know it in our bones. Even if we can't put our finger on it, what is it that's making me feel a little uncomfortable right now? But this person, you know it. When I met David Schmidt, I knew he was the real deal. The real deal. That's what people are looking for, my friends. This is what people are looking for. Committed to the sense. Is it financially stable? Have they made good business decisions? Or are they out there living an extravagant life, posting all over social, all their latest toys and big, it's all right to have toys. Some might consider a toy a little bit of a toy, but that's a good thing. Why? Because it isn't really. Because the end game is it's making the world a better place. I'm talking about lives that are so extravagant that they basically are just always bragging all the time. It's super braggadocious. But if you have somebody here that is financially stable, have they been in business for more than 5 to 10 years? That's a big benchmark for direct sellers. These are all differentiators for us. And is it a purpose-driven culture like we have at Lifewave? Is it a purpose-driven culture? If you have these 5 things, you can get their attention. So just be thinking about it as the world is crumbling, and this in direct selling. This was an interesting comment that I got. I was talking to Stuart Johnson, who's the CEO and the founder of Direct Selling News, and he has invited David to come and deliver a keynote in September in front of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of direct selling executives. But he texted me this because when the announcement came about Rodan, and of course everybody's just in a dither about it, he texted this to me. This is his text to me. As we discuss the stupidity, and this is what we're going to be doing in September, talking about the executives there in Texas. As we discuss the stupidity of private equity and venture capitalists in direct selling, the stupidity with one disaster after another as they keep coming into our space and wrecking really good movements. David, this is an exact text, I can show you on my phone. David and Lifewave are the shining star for our future. David Schmidt and Lifewave are the shining star in direct selling. So when you are going home and you're thinking about what's next for you, I want you to tuck this away in your heart. And I want you to understand at Lifewave what we have here. So different, so unique, so special. So a big round of applause for David Schmidt, please. So I'm going to cut over to that little bit of business I said, because for me, for someone who loves this channel, for someone who celebrates everything that we have to offer here, I consider myself a guardian and a protector of it. And I consider myself someone here at Lifewave whose sacred trust it is to make sure that we are building and reinforcing a foundation so that you can be here for decades to come, so that your children can be here for decades to come. This is my heart. This is who I am, and this is what I do. So yes, I talk a lot about strategy. I talk a lot about tactics. I talk a lot about projects, because these are the things that are happening there that, again, I want you to go home and have tucked away and say, I am solid. I don't have to think about anything else except for building my relationships, caring people, and sharing the technology from Lifewave with others. That's all I need to think about. So for us, the portfolio management office, which is how we put our projects in, has really 5 primary, in the playing to win strategy that I launched at the beginning of this year, because you always want to have a business plan for the year, right? These 5 are very important ones, and the ones that I wanted to share with you today, because they're important. Because we are a technology company, it's very important that our infrastructure is sound, because the reality is you can say you're a technology company, but you and I know if your website is a little glitchy, if it's not ideal, it kind of smacks of a little bit, well, what are you doing with your website kind of thing. We know, and we are getting better at making improvements all the time. And on that, you just have to keep your eyes open, keep watching. Remember, we don't have to be perfect, we just have to be great. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to be great, and we are working on that greatness. So when I talk about security remediation, these are ways to make sure that all of our data around the world, everything is safe and protected, so that you can know that you can stand up in any country around the world, and that we are making the right choices, and we are doing the right things to protect your future, so that all of a sudden you're not going to turn around and have the rug pulled out from underneath you. These are important things, and that's why the global policies, I know, there are times you're going to look at changes that we do, you're going to read something, you're going to, why are they doing that? And this is just when I would ask, you need to trust us. You need to trust 30 years of experience on this side. You need to trust hundreds and hundreds of years that are in the building in our new corporate headquarters in Utah. All of the people there with this mindset, we know. We've been there, we know. We've taken billion-dollar companies that were a train wreck and turned them around so that they were safeguarded, which comes into that Operation Safeguard. This means that everything that's happening right now, we are looking at every single policy, every single conversation, every piece of the comp plan, every piece straight across the board and saying, is there risk here? Are we vulnerable here? Okay, are we? Because again, you're on this lovely trip. You're having this amazing time. I know this is a very heavy conversation. I apologize. But at the core of it, you just need to stand tall and know that you are protected. And this, to me, is what I wanted to deliver in my time to speak with you. So when we take a look at compensation, okay, there's been some changes. We know we have renewal fees, we have things that are changing, but there are reasons behind them. It's not like we're just sitting around in the corporate office, what do we do today? I don't know. What do you want to do now? I don't know. What'll really cause some disruption? Yeah, let's just go ahead and throw that one out there. We'll just kind of throw that out there. Of course not. We have a list of over 100 initiatives. They are in priority. They are in priorities. Do they drive revenue? In other words, do they help you? Do they minimize expenses? Are we being good stewards of David's company and his vision? And thirdly, does it reduce risk? If the project doesn't, we say no. It has to do one of those three things. It has to do one of those three things. And the reducing risk is what we're doing. So for today, I know I'm going to have to kind of end on a heavier note here. But for today, you all know, you've been coming up to me all week and asking, we know the enrollment packs had to change. And this next part of the presentation, because I'm going to go through it really quick because I know you're just waiting for David to get up on stage. Steve, you didn't have to agree. You should, really? I mean, can you? No, Meredith, take more time, please. Oh, wow. So in any case, I have these slides, and I want you to know that when we are done at 12 noon our time, which is actually Croatian time, not the boat time, as we all learned this morning. So you are going to be, if you are an SPD, all SPDs are going to be getting this presentation emailed to them. So I don't want you to worry, oh my gosh, I gotta figure this out. Oh crap, I didn't bring a pen. No. You will have this in your inbox. Again, if you're an SPD, and if you're on this trip and you're not an SPD, just ask your SPD. If you don't have an SPD with you, ask Ryan, ask myself, ask Garrett, ask somebody, Claudia, ask Dr. Edward, and we'll get it to you. So the new pack structure is coming out. This is when it launches, Monday, September 30th. You have lots of time to get your head around this. So don't get in a dither, don't get your panties in a wad, everything will be just fine. Okay? You're gonna have everything you need, and then next week, actually they will be sent out to the rest of the team, so everybody globally, okay? So again, for first, because the reason we want the SPDs to have it first, they can go through the FAQs. Actually, I was just on last night with somebody who's gonna make a recording, a little bit of an onboarding recording for it, for the SPDs as well. So here's the thing about the new packs, and this is, like I said, I'm not gonna drill down to everything, it's a big one. This was the most important piece that I could give you in my few minutes remaining.